Morning, guys. It's me, Warren, here, Buildings from the Ground Up. Thank you again for watching my channel, and thank you for taking the time to be here as we share our thoughts and our experiences and our ideas on what it is that we can do to help you move in your journey from janitor to director or even higher if your soul desires. So today, I wanted to speak to you about fire panels in buildings. It's an important aspect of what you're going to do as you move up the chain and move up the ladder. It's going to be your responsibility to respond to fire emergencies, to alarm that panel, to make announcements if that's what your building does. When I was with the state, we made announcements weekly, testing announcements. Now, as I ended my career with the school district, we did not make announcements. But your system has to be tested weekly if your employer requires that. The state required it, the school district not so much. If you become director, you might want to implement some sort of weekly test of that fire panel and the annunciator portion of that fire panel. So I wanted to speak to you today because most people are definitely afraid of fire and fire panels. For whatever reason, I understand you don't want to set the building an alarm if you don't have to. When you hear the alarm going off, you might be a little bit nervous about the condition where it is, what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, based on my years of experience with the fire panel, you just need to breathe easy. It's a natural part of buildings. And if it didn't happen, you would never know that your system was working appropriately outside of your weekly test. Okay? So every time an alarm went off in the building and people had to evacuate either students or tenants or whatever it was, I always learned something new that made me better. So don't panic when you hear the alarm. Don't panic when you have to make an announcement. People get nervous. I understand. I was nervous. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to reach out to whoever your fire vendor is. In my case, it was Johnson Controls. If you have an updated panel, they could program a weekly test announcement in that panel for you. They could also program a testing announcement in that panel for you. So therefore, instead of you making an announcement saying that this is a test to disregard all audio and visual alarms, that's the exact language we used to use, you could have that pre-programmed in there. All you have to do is press the button and the announcement is made. But you also have to have the ability, to disarm that panel, respond to that panel when your building goes off, know how to find out where your condition is, and it just takes a few simple steps. So I'm going to share a couple of photos with you of your fire alarm panels. Okay, I'm going to share a photo of your testing that needs to occur. It's called your frequency chart. Okay, because if you have a vendor, like in my case, I had Johnson Controls, they would come and perform quarterly testing of your panel, quarterly testing of your devices, annual testing of your flow, your RPZ valves, that kind of thing throughout the building. So these are important things for you to know. So I'm going to share the frequency chart here. It should be behind me, right? And I'm going to share a picture of a fire panel with you. You need to become familiar with that fire panel. If your alarm goes off, you simply respond to your panel, right? You'll see your indication, whether that's fire or supervisor. You just acknowledge it, right? Then you scroll, find out which smoke head's in alarm, which one of your devices are in alarm, which one of your valves might be, your fire pumps might be in alarm. So it's very simple to do. Just, respond to your central station, which you see here. It should look like this when your system is normal. You just respond that when it's an alarm, one of those indicators will be lit up, whether it's a trouble or fire. You'll know because it'll be lit up green. You acknowledge it, and then you just scroll through the menu to see where the trouble is. Now, never ever here in my district, you can not reset the alarm without the fire department coming and taking a look first. They don't like that. So just be aware, if you respond to your panel, you see it's a simple condition, you send your crew out to where that location is, smoke head might be dirty, dusty, broken, somebody hit it, it fell off. So you obviously know it's not critical, right? But the fire department is still going to respond unless you were in test mode. Remember, that's critically important. If you're doing the test, you're testing the system, you're working on the system, you might have to disable your panel, so you have to put it in test. So, but if it's not, if that smoke head or that fire pump goes off, then the fire department should theoretically respond. You need to know to go to that panel and see that your condition might not be serious. It could be, something as little as a water flow, a gong going off because your water flow is not right. And I'll explain that in a second, because that happens. That happened to me several times where the fire alarm went off, and it was because of water flow. But just know that when you respond to that panel, you need to be able to acknowledge it, right? Locate where the condition is, have your staff or yourself go out to where that condition is, confirm that it's not a serious condition, right? While you're doing this, the building should be evacuating, right? You and your staff should be there just investigating what the issue is. Respond to it, something simple. You can, right, disable the alarm portion, but do not reset your panel until the fire department comes and takes a further look and investigates and confirms firsthand that the condition is safe, because that's what they typically like to do, right? So again, go to that fire panel. You know it's not a serious condition. You could turn off the audio part or the audio gongs, but do not reset that panel until the fire department comes and confirms that that condition is not serious. So now, during my years as a resident superintendent and the building superintendent and director, fire alarms go off all the time, at least several times a year. And in some cases, if the sensitivity level is set too high, it goes off even more than that. That has happened as well. It was going off for once a week for maybe a month or two before you realize, okay, I got to call a vendor in here and he has to, literally turn down the sensitivity level. That has happened to me as well. Now, as far as water flow and your water gong going off in your system, it's a simple. When your vendor comes out and does your annual fire pump testing, right? They have to move the water through your fire pump. Your water moves through your piping, through your system. And unfortunately, sometimes your vendor will leave and he will not assure that that pipe is flowing and filled up correctly as it should be. And the next day you have a water indicator and the building's an alarm and you respond and you're like, it's a water flow problem in this particular area. And that's exactly what it is. So my point is that, it's critically important that you become familiar with your fire panel, know your supervisory code, right? So that you can go into that panel without jostling controls and disable, enable particular devices. Now, why is that important, right? So if you have a smoke head that went into alarm, let's say it's in a duct and it's not accessible to you and you can't reach it, or even just in the building, you don't have replacement devices or smoke heads like you should have in stock. You should always have replacement devices. Your vendors are not particularly crazy about you doing that because they want to come out and do the work. But if you have a smoke head, it's simple for you to replace that smoke head. So you should have devices. But suppose this particular smoke head is in alarm and you need to take it out of alarm or off your system temporarily until your vendor can respond and replace it if you don't have a replacement. So you need to be able to disable that particular point, any point, right, in your system. And I'm going to share a photo with you of all your panels and all the points electrically that it will go out to. And you need to be able to disable any point so that your panel can go back to normal operation without it beeping every 5 minutes, because that one particular issue won't allow you to reset it, right? Or go back to normal operation. So again, don't be afraid of your fire panel. It's an important part of what you do. It's an important part of life safety, and it's an essential piece of equipment, and you need to know it. Don't be afraid of it. Be familiar with it, and that will help you along your journey, because if you can master that fire panel, know how to control it, right? Know how to silence it, know how to make announcements, know how to test it, you will be ahead of the game. Believe me, if you can be a master of that fire panel, not only will it be good for you and your career, but it will be good for everybody in your facility and everybody in your building. This is Warren, Buildings from the Ground Up. Like me, subscribe me, do whatever you do. Shout out to Shirley Fee for providing this paraphernalia underneath. I believe I have a photo I can share with you because the writing is on the back. And of course, my New York State Facilities Association paraphernalia as normal. Give out a shout out to them. Buildings from the Ground Up. This is Warren. Like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.